Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ahad Raza, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about attacking and taking the ball in short. Now, if you haven't watched Sarah Jane Perry's fantastic interview on the short game in particular, I would highly encourage you to do it. She dives into a ton of nuances and she really goes deep and gives you a proper explanation and things that you can action to improve your short game. The main focus for today is going to revolve around your follow through, creating a line through the ball, and the most common mistake that people make, which is playing a drop shot and just sort of pinging the ball onto the front wall. Now, before we get into demonstrations and the specifics, I do want to say that there is a time and place for a short touch drop, but then there is a time and place for a longer hit drop where you follow through the shot. Before we get into demonstrations, you might be asking, why are you wearing slippers? Well, not that long ago, I ended up fracturing a bone in the left foot's pinky toe. I'm finally able to walk without a ton of discomfort, not in shoes, however, because they pinch the foot, hence the slipper. So don't mind. I'm not going to be moving that well, but it makes for interesting training when you're a little bit less balanced than you normally are. Okay, let's get into it. So let's start in the front of the court. Remember, I said that there's a time and a place for the soft drop versus more of a swing and actually hitting that drop, playing that drop and sending the ball where you want it to go. The closer you are to the front wall, the more likely you are to tap that ball on. Now, there are layers of deception and disguise and all sorts of stuff that we can add into this, but we're gonna avoid those for now. Let's start with the basics. So if I'm in the front and I got a soft ball, coming and just tapping that ball up is not a bad idea at all. It takes way more skill to be up here and then cut the ball in. Now, sure, when I'm up here, it looks like I'm going to hit the ball hard if I can keep my racket head coming quickly through the ball and then I chop it. Mohamed Al-Sharbaghi is obviously the prime example of this, where he would set up with that big backswing and then just cut the ball in. Very advanced skill. Closer you are to the front wall, let's suffice to say, you can come in with a smaller swing and tap the ball in. Now, one mistake that people make when they tap the ball is that they often come and they just stop their racket. So they'll come here and they'll do that. And if you just stop your racket, if you noticed, the ball pinged up, and now I've given my opponent a ton of time to get onto that shot. The ping up is okay if you're under a lot of pressure, but then you need to try to do your best to get that ball as tight to the side wall so that you can squeeze them and then you limit their options. Now let's move back. So as noted, the further back I go, I can add more of a swing in. So from this position, I don't necessarily want to just come and tap the ball, because again, I have to tap a little bit harder to make the ball reach the front wall, and that's when I run the risk of this happening and then getting myself into trouble. So what I want to do from this position is I want to set my racket up like I'm going to drive, and then I want to actually hit through it. So let's show you that one once again. Set up and hit through. Now, depending on your space from the sidewall, your target will change. If I'm further away from the sidewall, I might try to go for the nick and put it in. That one actually ended up being the second option, which is getting that ball running along the sidewall. So you have trying to get that angle into the sidewall so it runs away from your opponent. And the other one is an attempt at a nick like that. I hit that too high on the sidewall. You want to try to get it closer to that so that the ball sits down. So remember, the key tips are you need to adjust the swing size, meaning follow through, racket head speed, and then the last piece we didn't talk about much was the angle of your racket face. If you come in too closed, chances are that ball's going to go straight into the tin. You're trying to push it. You want to keep that ball open, rather you want to keep your racket face open, and then when you cut it, you're cutting around the bottom and maybe even, depending on your position and how close or far you are, it might be on the inside of the ball, it might be on the outside of the ball, but you really want to come open and cut under, which puts backspin on the ball and it helps the ball stay short. We're not going to get into more details. You should check out JP's video on the drop shot in particular. We'll link to that over here. Fantastic, where he talks about inside, outside, over top, etc. The last tip I'll give you is you want to be able to play these sorts of attacking shots even out of the back of the court. And when you are playing them out of the back of the court, you have to extend your swing even more. Let me show you what that looks like. So again, if I'm playing now from behind the back of the service box or off the back wall, I really have to extend my racket towards its destination. But because I'm cutting it properly, the ball ends up staying short and it comes down off of the front wall. Now, again, from a tactical perspective, the benefit of this is that if I can show my opponent more than one shot out of the back and I'm not always hitting deep, and if I can do that with the same setup and same follow through, my opponent's going to think the ball's going back and the ball's actually going short. So now we're getting into that concept of disruption. I'm getting ahead of myself. Just to reiterate, let's focus on distance from the front wall and size of swing, with key factors being the closer you are, you can shorten the swing a little bit. You don't have to worry about deception, focus on quality. The further back you come, you're going to have to extend your racket through the ball just a little bit more, open racket face, cut that shot, and create a line through the ball. Tactical options, if you can add that in further back in the court, it just gives your opponent, it makes them feel that much more unsettled, which is obviously something you want to do. All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, give the video a thumbs up, leave a comment below, we'll respond to them, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, and share it with someone who you think is going to benefit from it. Take care, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.